All right, guys. Hope you can hear me. Hope you can hear me well. We are finally in the book of Exodus. We read through Genesis finally, and it was crazy. It was a wild ride. But now we're in Exodus, and let's get right to it. So remember, we're reading from the CSB Christian Standard Bible version, and we're going to be reading from there. So, Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. We'll read I'll read like three chapters, maybe four, depending. So we'll see. So Israel oppressed in Egypt. These are the names of the sons of Israel. Oh, we're starting off with names, guys. Y'all know how I feel about the names. All right. These are the names of sons of Israel who came to Egypt with Jacob. Each came with his family. Reuben, Simeon. I don't know if it's Simon or Simeon. I'm gonna say Simon. I'm gonna say Simeon. Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Shakara, Zebulon and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. The total number of Jacob's descendants was 70. Joseph was already in Egypt. Joseph and all of his brothers, Joseph and all of his brothers, and all that generation eventually died. But the Israelites were fruitful, increased rapidly, multiplied, and became extremely numerous, so that the land was filled with them. A new king, who did not know about Joseph, came to power in Egypt. He said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are more numerous and more powerful than we are. Come, let's deal shrewdly with them. Otherwise, they will multiply further, and when war breaks out, they will join our enemies and fight against us and leave the country." So the Egyptians assigned taskmakers over the Israelites to oppress them with forced labor. They built Pithom and Ramses as supply cities for Pharaoh. But the more they oppressed him, the more they multiplied and spread, so the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites. They worked the Israelites ruthlessly uh, and they made their lives bitter and difficult labor in brick and mortar and all kinds of field work. They ruthlessly oppressed all the work on them. The king the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, the first whose name was Sapphira, and the second whose name was Pua, "When you help the Hebrew woman give birth, observe them as they deliver. If the child is a son, kill him, but if it's a daughter, she may live." The midwives, however, feared God, and they did not do as the king of Egypt had told them. They let the boys live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, "Why have you done this and let the boys live?" The midwives said to the Pharaoh, "The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before a midwife can get to them." So God was good to the midwives, and the people multiplied and became very numerous. Since the midwives feared God, he gave them families. Pharaoh then commanded all the people, "You must throw every son born in the Hebrews in the Nile, but let every daughter live." This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Chapter 2. Now a man from the family of Levi married a Levite woman. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was beautiful, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with asphalt and pitch. She then placed a child in it and set it along the reeds of the bank of the Nile. Then his sister stood at a distance in order to see what would happen. Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe at the Nile, while her servant girls walked along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her slave girl, took it, opened it, and saw him, the child. And there he was, a little boy, crying. She felt sorry for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew boys." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Should I go and call the Hebrew woman who is nursing to nurse the boy for you?" "Go," Pharaoh's daughter told her. So the girl went and called the boy's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me. I will pay your wages." So the woman took the boy and nursed him. And when the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter. And he became her son. And she named him Moses, because she said, "I drew him out the water." Now, years later, this is verse 11 on chapter 2. Years later, after Moses had grown up, he went out to his own people and observed their forced labor. He saw an Egyptian strike a Hebrew, one of his people. Looking all around and seeing no one, he struck the Egyptian dead and hid him in the sand. The next day he went out and saw two Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you attacking your neighbor?" Who made you the commander and judge over us?" The man replied. "Are you planning to kill me as I killed the Egyptian? No. Are you planning to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses became afraid and thought, "What I did was certainly known." When Pharaoh heard about this, he tried to kill Moses, but Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian, and sat down by a well. Now the priest of the Midian had 7 daughters. They came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Then shepherds arrived and they drove them away, but Moses came to their rescue and watered their flock. When he returned to their father Reuel, he asked, "Why have you come back so quickly today?" They answered, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." "So where is he?" he asked his daughters. Why then did you leave the man behind? Invite him to eat dinner." Moses agreed to stay with the man, and he gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. She gave birth to a son, whom is named Gershom. For he said, "I have been a resident alien in a foreign land." It's crazy how they always name their people, they name their kids, they name them after something, like something that was profound in their life. So chapter 20, or verse 25. So after a long time, the king of Egypt died, and the Israelites groaned because of their difficult labor. And they cried out, and their cry for help because of the difficult labor ascended to God. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God saw the Israelites, and God knew. Chapter 3. Meanwhile, Moses was shepherding the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire within a bush. As Moses looked, he saw that the bush was on fire, but was not consumed. So Moses thought, "I must go over and look at this remarkable sight. Why isn't this bush burning up?" When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called out to him from the bush, "Moses, Moses, here I am." "Do not come closer," he said. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place you are standing on is holy ground." Then he continued, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord said, "I have observed the misery of my people in Egypt, and you have heard them crying out because of their oppressors. I know about their sufferings, and I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians, and to bring them to a land that is good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and the territory of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Pezerites, Hivites, and Jebusites. So because of the Israelites' cry for help has come to me, and I have also seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. Therefore, go. I am sending you to Pharaoh so that you may lead my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." But Moses asked God, "Who am I that I should go to the Pharaoh and that I should bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" He answered, "I will certainly be with you, and this will be a sign that I am with you. One who sent you He answered, "I will certainly be with you, and this will be the sign that I am the one who sent you. With you bring the people out of Egypt, and you will all worship God at this mountain." Then Moses asked God, "If I go to the Israelites and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' then what shall I tell them?" God replied to Moses, "I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites: 'I am has sent me to you.'" God had also said to Moses, "Say this to the Israelites: 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. This is how I am remembered in every generation." Verse 16, chapter 3. Go assemble the elders of Israel, and say to them, "Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to me and said, I have paid close attention to you, to what has been done to you in Egypt, and I have promised you that I will bring you up from the misery of Egypt to the land of Canaanites, to the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey, and they will listen to what you say. Then you, along with the elders of Israel, must go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now please let us go on a 3-day trip into the wilderness, so that we may sacrifice to our Lord and our God. However, I know that the king will not allow you to go, even under force, from a strong hand. But I will stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my miracles, and I will perform in it. After that, he will let you go, and I will give these people such favor with the Egyptians that when you go, you will not go empty-handed. Each woman will ask her neighbor and any woman staying in her house for silver and gold jewelry and clothing, and you will put them on your sons and daughters. You will plunder the Egyptians. Let's read. We'll finish on chapter 4. Okay. So Moses answered, this is chapter 4. Moses answered, what if they won't believe me and will not obey me, but say, the Lord did not appear to you? The Lord asked him, what is in your hand? A staff, Moses said. Throw it on the ground, he said. So Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord told Moses, stretch out your hand and grab it by the tail. So he stretched out his hand and caught it, and it became a staff in his hand. This will take place, he continued, so that they will believe the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. In addition, the Lord said to him, put your hand inside your cloak. So he put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out, his hand was diseased, resembling snow. Put your hand back inside your cloak, he said. He put his hand back inside his cloak, and when he took it out, it again had become like the rest of his skin. If they will not believe you and will not respond to the evidence of the first sign, they may believe the evidence of a second sign. And if they don't believe these 2 signs or listen to what you say, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the ground, and the water you take from the Nile will become blood on the ground. But Moses replied to the Lord, please, Lord, I have never been eloquent, either in the past or recently, since you have been speaking to your servant, because my mouth and my tongue are sluggish. The Lord said to him, Who placed a mouth on humans? Who makes a person mute or deaf, seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak, and I will teach you what to say. Moses said, please, Lord, send somebody else. Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, isn't Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he could speak well, and also he is on his way right now to meet you. He will rejoice when he sees you. You will speak with him and tell him what to say, and I will help both you and him to speak, and I will teach you both what to do. He will speak to the people for you. He will serve as a mouthpiece for you, and you will serve as a God to him. And take this staff in your hand, and that you will perform the signs of. So then Moses went back to his father-in-law Jethro and said to him, please let me return to my relatives in Egypt and see if they are still living. Jethro said to Moses, go in peace. Now the Midian, the Lord told Moses, remember, return to Egypt, for all the men who wanted to kill you are dead. So Moses took his wife and sons and put them on a donkey, returned to the land of Egypt, and Moses took God's staff in his hand. The Lord instructed Moses, when you go back to Egypt, make sure you do before Pharaoh all the wonders that I have put within your power. But I will harden his heart, so that he won't let the people go. And you will say to Pharaoh, this is what the Lord says. Israel is his firstborn son. I told you, let my sons go, so that he may worship me. But you will refuse to let him go. Look, I am about to kill your firstborn son. On the trip at the overnight campsite, it happened that the Lord confronted him and intended to put him to death. So Zipporah took a flint, cut off her son's foreskin, threw it at Moses' feet, and said, you are a bridegroom of blood to me. So he let him alone. At the time, she said, you are a bridegroom of blood, referring to the circumcision. Now the Lord had said to Aaron, go and meet Moses in the wilderness. So he went to meet him at the mountain of God and kissed him. Moses told Aaron everything that the Lord had sent him to say, and all or all the signs that he had commanded him to do. Then Moses and Aaron went and assembled all the elders of the Israelites, and repeated everything that the Lord had said to Moses, and performed the signs before the people. The people believed, and when they heard what the Lord had paid attention to them, and that he had seen their misery, they knelt down and worshiped. And that is the end of chapter 4. The title of chapter 5 is Moses confronts Pharaoh. It's not like a title, but it's like the little subcategory on the CSB of like what it talks about. So next chapter is going to be going to tell Pharaoh what's up, about let my people go. So let's get active. Good reading today. God bless you all.